Hi everybody, welcome back to the Intern Queen YouTube channel. It is a work from home Friday, so I'm sitting in my house. I feel like we're never in the Nook filming anymore. So this is exciting, but I have a special video for our international student audience. Since we launched our YouTube channel, we've had a very big international following, which is amazing. We love all of your support, but I wanted to track down an expert that could really help you guys figure out how to get from wherever you're located to the US if you want, for those internships that you guys keep asking me about. So I finally tracked down an expert. Get excited. So we're so excited to have him here to help. And because we're not physically in the same city, we are shooting this video by me pre-recording questions, sending it to our expert, and then he's gonna answer them and we're gonna edit them together here for you guys. So hopefully you like this video and hopefully it gives you guys valuable advice for all of our international students watching. If you have any questions after this video, please leave us comments below and we'll make sure to get your questions answered. Thanks guys. Hey Dan, we are so excited to have you on the Intern Queen YouTube channel. Welcome.
Thanks a lot for a chance to chime in to your questions for your community. I appreciate the chance to address everybody.
We have such a large international student audience here, and everyone is always asking, how do I come to the US and intern? So tell us, what steps can they take to come from whatever country they're in to the US to intern?
The short, quick way to think about it is that there are two ways to do it for an internship now. The first is that you can come here with an internship already in hand. And to do that, you would engage a third-party organization that does this as part of the services that they offer. So these would be organizations such as EF Education or CIEE, and there are others, who will work with organizations in the United States to uncover internships and then facilitate matching you with those organizations for the roles that they've identified. Now they typically do this for a fee, but the third-party organization will typically take care of the immigration, they'll take care of the matching process, and so you come over here knowing who you will work for, and you've got a service organization behind you that can kind of support you as you do this. Now that's one potential way to do it. Now there's some limitations in doing it that way in my view. One is that you don't necessarily have a lot of control over what you're going to do. You're more of a, I guess the best way to say it is, you kind of take what you can get. You don't have a whole lot of control over choosing what you're going to do, so you're more of a beggar than a chooser in that case. And then also the sorts of roles that you would uncover are ones that aren't necessarily going to be leading to longer full-time employment. And I don't know if that's important to you, but that's something to consider as well. The first model. The other model would be to come here to the US in some other capacity, maybe as an exchange student, maybe as a volunteer, maybe as an au pair or something else, and go and get your own internship. And that's going to put a lot more control with you. Now, it's also a lot more work because, of course, now you've got to get out there and uncover these internships and motivate somebody to bring you in to fill that role. Now,
So my next question is, when international students are doing an interview, let's say with a company in the US, should they disclose that they're coming from, whatever other country? Like, how forthcoming should they be about where they're based and the process of getting from, their country to the US?
The direct answer to the question is, if you are in a job interview where someone is considering you for a specific job that they have, my recommendation is that you're as forthcoming as possible with that person about what's involved in hiring you. And so if you're going to need visa sponsorship to work as a full-time permanent employee for that organization for the job that you're interviewing for, I think you need to be very forthcoming about that in the very beginning, because you want the manager you're speaking to be completely aware of what's involved with bringing you in. If you don't do that, sometimes managers will get excited about candidates, go to human resources to try and go through with hiring you, and then be surprised by this need for a visa, and then kind of lose trust in you and kind of wonder why you're hiding this particular part of your package. So my advice, the very simple answer, is to be very forthcoming about that. Having said that, my recommended path to getting access to jobs in the US does not involve starting with the traditional path of applying to jobs online, being selected, going in for a face-to-face interview. That sort of traditional path oftentimes is very difficult for international students to navigate because it's completely fraught with ways to screen out international students. So my recommended way to get to the point of having access to a job is doing something called informational interviewing. Now, informational interviewing, it's just a research conversation that you can have with anybody that you might want to, outside of the context of being a candidate for a job. You're basically gathering someone's advice, their recommendations on things that you might do or follow in your own job search. And in that capacity, you're not a job seeker. You're not a candidate for a specific job. And that's really important because if you're not a candidate for a specific job, you don't have an obligation to talk about your visa because you're not applying for a job. You're not a candidate for a job in an informational interview. And that sounds like a trivial difference, but it's very much a material difference in that you don't have to get hung up on what your needs are from an immigration standpoint, and you can build the relationship there without having to deal with that. So, but it's researching through informational interviews, building relationships outside of the context of needing a visa for anything. Those relationships potentially lead to job interviews. And in those job interviews, when someone's already connected with you, they're more apt to be understanding and willing to sponsor a visa for somebody that they've already become aware of through the informational interviewing process. Oh, I just thought of something else that actually ties into that conversation too. As an international student job seeker, you need to be very, very familiar with what steps an employer has to take to sponsor your visa. A lot of international students assume that companies know what it's all about, and they often don't. And particularly if you're going after smaller employers, when you tell them that you need a visa to work there, they often freak out because they don't understand what that means. So you need to understand the specific steps so you can guide that person who wants to hire you through the immigration process, and they don't get freaked out by it.
How do you recommend international students find companies in the US that are open to hiring them? Because there are so many companies in the US that will only hire US citizens.
Your job as a job seeker, as an international student job seeker, is to get out there and meet organizations, meet people specifically, meet people out there who can learn more about the value that you can convey and can decide that they want it for themselves or that someone they know could value what you have to offer. And when that happens, the costs of your visa are really small potatoes compared to the overall picture of the value you bring to an organization and also the costs that are associated with just bringing you on as an employee. So don't stress out so much about who sponsors and who doesn't, as tempting as it is. So thanks very much for inviting me into your community. I hope this information's been helpful, and I'd invite you to come and check out more at powerties.net. Thanks, everybody. Best wishes.
Was that helpful or what, you guys? Well, round of applause. Thank you so much to our expert. Woo! And keep me posted if you have any other questions, comments, any other ideas for more videos on the subject that could really help our international student audience. Please let us know. And as always, thanks for watching.